One of my favorite drills for learning how to differentiate when you should use good tactics and when you should just try hard on a boulder problem is the 10-minute takedown drill. So the way this works is that you pick a boulder problem just above your flash grade and you have 10 minutes to work it out. In that time, you want to be as tactical as possible. You can use other holds, you can get power spots, you can step off of a stack of crash pads if you want, if that gets you higher. Do anything in your power to figure this out quickly. When that time's up, you get 2 attempts to try and send. If you don't send on those 2 goes, then your time's over and you don't get to try it again that day. So this is a boulder problem that I picked out on the kilter board that's just above my flash level, and I picked it because it looked a little bit confusing. It wasn't just a straightforward, power pulling problem on crimps or just big jugs. It's a little weird. I knew I wouldn't be able to read the sequence first try, and for me that seemed really important. I wanted to be forced into figuring out what beta I needed to use while on a time crunch. So as you can see, I'm initially working out this opening cross sequence, and it's not going the way I wanted it to. This honestly seemed like the most straightforward part of the boulder to me. But the cross seems weird. I'm not really liking it. So now I'm trying to figure out what else can I do. It's important that I get something figured out so that I can kind of work above and below that sequence. So I don't know how to get into these holds this way, but I want to see how the rest of the boulder feels like this. I do both these moves first try, and they don't feel terrible. So that seems like a workable sequence. And now I have something to kind of branch off of. I'm still looking at the bottom. How do I get into where my hands just were when I did that last sequence? I'm not entirely certain, but I also know I don't have a lot of time. So I'm going to go ahead and continue working out this top bit. I'm initially thinking that I'm going to jump to this jug, put my feet on, and do a cross underneath to this crimp. But both of the feet beta I tried just don't seem to work well for that. And I am feeling the time pressure right now. I'm halfway through. I'm not really entirely certain how I'm going to do this boulder yet. But I want to get this last move done. I see how I want it to go. So I'm going to go ahead and test this out. And sure enough, this feels really good. I'm quite certain I can repeat that consistently. And I've got a few moves figured out, but I am missing some transitions right now. So that's what I'm going to look to get taken care of right now. I'm going to pull through on some jugs. I'm now in that sequence that I was in. So I know I can get my hands here. I want to test out that cross one more time. And no, it feels terrible. So we're going to see, and yes, I'm able to kind of bump my way through. I'm a little sloppy right here. This is my first time doing these moves, but those are the hands and the foot moves that I needed. It's not perfect. I am feeling the pressure right now. I love having all the time in the world to try and figure out boulder problems, and this drill for me is my kryptonite. It is always a challenge. So I'm forcing myself to rest right now rather than just rapid fire the goes. The moves are hard enough, and I know that I need a little bit more time just to kind of think and figure out what I'm going to do. Now I've done all the moves except for the opening 2 to get my hands organized on those first 2 blue holds the way I want them to be. But man, I really wish I had had more time here. I ended up spending so much time figuring out sequences. And even now, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. And it's not until this moment right here that I see it. And it kind of clicks. Okay, I can just bump through to that jug, then fall into this hold. And now I'm in my sequence. So that looks good. Unfortunately, I'm out of time. So I'm running the boulder through my head. And I'm trying to remember the way that I did all the moves. And here is me doing all those moves individually. So this is just kind of a highlight reel of those 10 minutes. And this is what I'm thinking about whenever I'm running the boulder through my head. I try and stitch those all together in one smooth, seamless, flowing, much better than the way this actually looks right now sequence. So I take 3 minutes of rest, and then I try it from the ground and I hope for the best. Now, whenever I go to try this, in my mind, it's going to be that top traverse sequence that's going to be the hardest. I'm just worried I'm going to pump out on it. So on this go, I try to just move as fast as I can. I really want to sprint through this bottom, try and save some power for that hard foot move where I campus my foot over. Unfortunately, you can see I'm just a little sloppy here. I'm kind of crashing into these holds. I ended up just underestimating how hard that big move was. I did it first try in isolation, and I'm a little gripped right now. I'm not sure how this is going to go. So I just decide, hey, let's go a little slower. Let's hit the holds well. Let's move a little bit better. Let's see what we can do. And it didn't work out this time. But I'm really happy with the way that this whole drill went. I feel like in the amount of time I had, I did a good job of locking everything down, figuring out my beta. And yes, I would have loved for it to have been a 15-minute takedown, but that's not the purpose of this drill. And that's why I have to practice it more and more. I hope this video was helpful. If you end up trying the 10-minute takedown drill, leave a comment below and let me know how it went for you.